Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we'll talk about Tor browser. So first of all you need to do is simply go to the Google and search for this Tor download. I'll just click on this link and it will just redirect us to this page. I'll just install VMS Windows, or basically for this MS Windows. So if you see here, it will just give the Tor browser and your bit version, and I'll just go to this 64-bit and it will give us the link. I'll just save this file and it will be downloaded over here. So after you just download, it is a quick installation procedure. You should get this folder and it will say that it has the start Tor browser. So it should appear after you just install to that on your system. So let me just close this because I have already installed, and you will see this start Tor browser icon over here. So let me just open this. Then you should get this Tor browser establishing a connection tab. Let it give a time to load and it will just give us this Tor browser. So this is the Tor browser that is going to just open us the hidden websites that is in the dark web. So it is completely normal to use those onion website, but if you just use something for the bad intention, or basically if you do something that harms other, and basically if you do illegal stuffs on this store, it is completely illegal and you will just get involved into the action that will just take by the police. So I'll just suggest you, so basically you can just get ideas of these Tor websites, or basically the onion route link. We'll also see how to make our own onion route link, or basically our own website on the dark web in the next lecture. But for now, let me just go to the interface of this Tor browser. So you could see that it is showing us DuckDuckGo, same as Google search engine. So this is the Google search engine in the Tor browser. So you could see this DuckDuckGo is very much reliable than the browser, that is Google browser, because this doesn't track you. So it is a very important feature of this DuckDuckGo. So you can search anything over here. So just you need to remember that any website that is visible in the normal server is also available in this Tor browser. So if you go here in our normal Firefox, you will search for the Facebook. It is also available in the case of the Tor. That means it will be available, that is this .com website, or basically if I just search for this facebook.com, then you will see that it will also load this facebook.com over here. So that means we can search the normal websites, or basically deep websites that starts, or basically that ends with the onion route or onion link. Like let me say this is the onion route. So this website can be also served in the case of the Tor browser. So just remember that. So this website will be also available over here. So just remember that is basically normal websites, and the deep link websites will be available to serve in the case of the Tor browser. So let me just open some of these websites. So before that, let me see what is over here. So at the corner, at the left hand side, you'll see that we have this onion sign over here. So let's click on that symbol. You'll just see the options that will pop out over here, saying new identity, security settings, Tor network settings, and check for the Tor browser update. So if I just press on this new identity, that means it is going to give us another identity for us, that is a new network connection. We'll see about the connection in a minute, how this Tor onion route works. We'll see all of this mechanism in a minute, but before that you can do that is click on this new identity. You will just get the new identity, new connection, or a new circuit for your connection. And if I just go to this security setting, you will just get this browser setting over here. It is in the standard, that means all the Tor browser and website features are enabled. If I just go to the safer mode, you will see that is it is just lacking some of the features, like JavaScript is disabled on the non-HTTPS site. That means it will be the safer than this standard, but it is likely be more safer. That means it is more secure system than before, because it will have these settings that is enabled or basically disabled, so that it won't be tracked by any officials. So that means you will have the JavaScript that is disabled, some fonts and math symbol are disabled. So if I just go to the safest mode, you will see the features will be just disabled over here. So HTML5 medias are click to play. So if I just press on this safest mode. And now if I just go to the maybe YouTube, so if I just play the YouTube, you'll see the drastic changes. So if I just go to the YouTube, let me just close this tab, and it is going to load us in a minute because it has to go through different servers, so it is usually taking time than what we normally search in the case of a Firefox. So let it give a time to load. So it is taking the time than I estimated, so let me just play it again, or basically maybe okay. So you could see we are in this safer mode. So basically if I just go to the standard mode, and if I just press enter again, you'll see that we will get now the normal website, that is YouTube website, which will have all the features like this. So it has the JavaScript enabled and everything. But if I just go to maybe, let me just go to the safer mode, not the safest mode. So let me just press OK, and now if I just play it again, then you'll see the lots of feature will be disabled over here. So I think I haven't saved that. Okay, so something like if I just play this video, you'll see that, okay, let me just go back and play this video maybe. Now you will see that it has lagged some of the features. So it has lagged these features. So let me show you. So these were the security settings that were just lagged. So JavaScript is disabled on this non-HTTPS website. So that means some of the features like the gesturing and everything, that is DOM manipulation, has been disabled in this website. So that means this is more safer website than before, because this cannot be traced easily than that which was before. So next setting over here, so let me just close this one, and the next setting over here is a Tor network setting. I have to open that, and you could see I use a proxy to connect to the internet, this setting over here. Let me open that, and it is giving us some options. So if I just type the proxy, maybe SOC 5 or SOC 4, if I just open this website, which is maybe SOC proxy website, this free socproxy.net website, you can get this proxy from here. So these are the SOC 4 proxy, so you can just get those, and simply what you need to do is simply take these IP addresses, and these are free. If you want to buy the proxy, it will be faster than this, but if I just want to just give you the example over here, you can simply add the IP address, you can get the port of that IP address from here, and the username and the password over here must be optional. So after that, you'll just click OK over here to run your SOCs, and basically now we have successfully added that proxy to this store. But I won't be adding it. So you could see how to add the proxy, how easy it is to add the proxy to the Tor browser. So next thing in this Tor browser is this extensions, which is freely downloaded while we just download this Firefox. So let me just go to maybe here add-ons, and you will see it has HTTPS everywhere, no script, Tor button, and Tor launcher. So these comes pre-packed while we just install the Tor browser. That is saying no script, that means it will just have the extra protection for this Firefox or for this Tor browser. So this is the extra feature that we get is pre-downloaded with the Tor. So we can source many websites, that is only a link in this Tor browser. So before that, let's see how this onion route work in the Tor browser. What is the mechanism of just making so secured system? So how these systems can be so secure that it is very hard to just trace by the officials. So let's see how this works. So basically, let's see how Tor browser works under the hood. So let me open my document over here. Let me grab my pen. So let me just grab this pen over here. Now you could see that, let me just grab it here. So you could see this is our internet over here, and it is the man, or it is the client who is basically surfing that internet. Maybe I want to get google.com. so you could see the server over here saying that this is DNS. That means it is a domain name server. So anything you type over here is going to be, so let me say give a quick example what is happening over here. So if I say something like www.google.com, so I will just type z as google.com, and if I just sort this internet, then it will just go first to this domain name server. It will just check that google.com and it has associated IP with it. So this IP is basically the way to just determine that it is related to google.com. So this is the IP that is particular to google.com. So that can be done. So something like, if I just go over here and ping my google.com, you will get the IP of the Google. If I see here that this is the IP of the Google, you can clearly see over here. So this is the way where we can just get the IP address. So that is done by this domain name server, because internet only gets idea of this number, so they don't know anything about this. So google.com for this internet is just a gibberish. So first of all, we have to convert this google.com, which is basically the name that is given by the humans, because just remembering these characters, this number for the human is very tedious. So they have just given the name so that the remembering this name would be easier just than remembering these IP addresses. So basically DNS server will convert our domain name to the IP addresses, and after that domain name, or basically after that IP addresses is given back to the client, it will just give it to the ISP, which is your internet service provider, and through this internet service provider they will just make a request to the internet to fetch the website of the google.com, and this is the website server which has the address of 111. That means it is the website of Google. So it will just give you the page of the Google. So this is the way how the internet works. But you can see there is no security at all. So what if we just came as a man in the middle over here and we just grab that pages or anything, or basically your location or the data, so anything you have searched here can be just vulnerable. So you can clearly see over here that the data is not encrypted. It is not through the encryption, it is just sending the request through the ARP protocol, which is very vulnerable. So there comes the handy technique, which is this onion route. So let's see how this works. So you could see that it is the same picture that we just see, but now we have the different servers. So you can see these A, D, G are the servers. So they are located just normally or located remotely in the all of the locations that is throughout the world. So basically what happens now is, if you just give the address that is your IP address, and now instead of just let me show you the example that we are just going to search for maybe Toyota car in google.com, which has the IP address of this 1.1.1.1. so you can see that the only thing that this server can track is your IP address and the things that is your data. So you can see that this server, which is the google.com, can just trace you back or get every information that you just do in the internet. That means this is not secure. So let's see how now onion routes makes this data encrypted. That means our connection or the network will be more secure than before. So first of all, you will have the information that is saying, hey, I want this data. So this will be gone through this server. So data will be encrypted first to this. So first of all, what happens is, so first of all, let me say you that this sends data from here, that is 1.1.1.1, and first of all it should go through this. So basically this is the first server that this will just get communicate to. So this will send that data to G server, and basically after that you can clearly see there is a layer of encryption over here, because if you just see every layer has its encrypted key, that means it will just get a time to just encrypt one layer of encryption. That means only one part of the messages will have to be only encrypted or basically decrypted by each of the server, so that the encryption will be much more efficient than before. So let me show you what is I'm just talking about over here. So let me just go to the documentation of Tor project over here, and you'll see that how this Tor works basically. So let me show that Alice is the one that is going to be giving the source, and you can see this dev is the another client that there will be the message encryption in between them. So first of all, what happens is Alice is just asking for the Tor nodes. So we have the Tor nodes, that is basically the server that is associated on different location. So they have the Tor nodes. So they are basically the Tor nodes or the directory server, and after that they will just get that Tor nodes list of the Tor node for the Alice, and basically now encryption happens in the next step. So you can see that over here that these circuits are so encrypted that every encryption have its encrypted and decrypted key over here. So you can see this is the encrypted circuit over here, and this part, which is this part, is your Tor node. So this is your Tor node, or basically this is your encrypted link again, but this link is your unencrypted link, and this part, which is this part, these three are your Tor nodes. So you can clearly see the message or the request is sent from Alice, but when it reaches to Bob, it will think that it is from this Tor node but not from the Alice. But instead it was sent from the Alice, so it was so encrypted that this Bob has no idea which of these node has sent these messages. So you can just now get information that this Alice is searching something on the Google. Maybe this Bob is Google now, and Google has no information that who is sending that information or who is sending that request. So this is the work of the Tor. You can see clearly over here how this is encrypted. And if you just make one request, let me say something like, okay, at first we just made the request to google.com, and in second, if I just make a request again to facebook.com, new circuit will be created now, and this circuit will be random than before. At first this was this circuit associated to make a link between Alice and Bob. Now for the second request, maybe facebook.com, now there will be another circuit created, so that this new server will no have any longer information about this Alice again anymore. So this is a very important encrypted technique in the case of the Tor, and we have to just see that how these circuits are created in the case of the Tor, and how we can just see that green link here is an encrypted one and the red link is the clear one or unencrypted link. That means this will have the information of this node, but this node is of the Tor nodes. So Alice will be having the encrypted communications with this Jane, or basically with this person or with this server, and that is the only way to protect the transportation of data, which is basically staying anonymous in the network. So it is very important features of the Tor, that is it will just make us anonymous in the network. So that if you do any stops, and I won't encourage to do any illegal stops in the Tor, but if you do again, then there will be something that is encrypted link, so that the person who is going to track, so basically I'm not saying they cannot track you, but there will be hard for them to just track if you just use the Tor for the attacking or for any stops that is not legal. So you can see that we have now talked about the Tor. So an analogy, I'll just give you an analogy of the Tor here. So you can just think this Tor is a mailing system where this mail, so basically we are mailing a letter that is received and forwarded by the different people. So here people is a clients, and there can be the connection between the Tor network to or a Tor node. So let's say there is one person who is Mary, and she wants to just send the letter to the Johnny. So what we are just talking about here is a person or a client is making request to another server, maybe google.com. So here we are just making an analogy that Mary is sending a mail to Johnny. So we'll see now how encryption works in the Tor. But the main thing is that she doesn't want to let Johnny that the letter is originated. So basically what we want is Johnny won't have any idea that the letter was originated from the Mary. That means the Google or any other server don't have any information of this Mary. So that is our main priority. So next step to remain the anonymous will be as follows. Let's see how this works. So first of all, Mary, who originates the letter, write a letter. Basically she writes a letter and places it in an envelope addressed to the Johnny in the Boston. So this is, just remember over here, what we just talking about is she places the letter and addressed to the Johnny in the Boston. That means Johnny stay in the Boston or to the server. Basically we'll just say that there is a server in the Boston. And again Mary places that envelope in the another and addresses it Susan in the Seattle. So that means this is the new server, which is our Tor node. So that envelope, which is obviously the message, is also addressed to Susan in Seattle, and again this Mary places that envelope in another and addresses it to Barry in Dallas, and Mary also places that envelope in another and it addresses it to Bob in Denver, and then Mary places the letter in a mailbox from her home in San Francisco. So basically this is the place where this mailbox or basically this letter were originated from. So you can just see that this envelope over here represents a layer of encryption. So using the rule that each person in this analogy can only unwrap the first envelope. So just remember that he only can unwrap the first envelope that is sent. So the conclusion or basically the contents remain hidden, encrypted in the most inner envelope. That means if you see the letter or the envelope, which is the layer of encryption, has that letter which is encrypted or hidden in the most inner envelope. So that is your encryption. You can see the Bob is the entry point here, Barry will be middle point, and Susan will be middle point again. So it is exit point, not a middle point. So C will be the exit point. So each of these has basically your Tor nodes. So they are Tor nodes. That means this envelope which we are talking about over here represents a layer of encryption, and basically this content, which is inner content, will be encrypted in the envelope. And just remember that every party over here, which is obviously this Barry, Susan and Job, which is Bob, which is the metaphor for our Tor browser or for our Tor links or a Tor node, will just unwrap the first envelope. So they have the priority to just encrypt the first part of the messages and not the whole messages. So that is very important to think about this Tor browser. We saw how Tor browser works under the hood. In this lecture, you can see these are your Tor browsers, and we saw these are your Tor links. They are voluntarily just kept across the world so that it will be faster than before. But you know that Tor, being so much safer than any other browser, has to go through many Tor links. That means it will be slower than any other browser, but maybe it is more safer. So we have the trade-off over here. We just have the slower browser that is more safer in order to do some pen testing. Now let's go to the sum of the quick onion link now. So first of all, I have this GitHub link over here. You can just check out from the resource section. So there are quite bunch of a link over here. You can just grab it out. So if I just open this onion link over here, so let me just copy, go to our Tor browser, let me just paste and just press go. You'll see it will just have the little less internet connection. So basically we have just opened the Tor shops. So this is the way how this onion browser works. So you can just grab anything. It is same as the normal website. You can just make the Facebook. You can also go or surf the social websites, mailing websites. You can also host your websites, do many things. So you can see over here, this has the onion route. That means this is the website of the dark web. You can do many stops from this Tor browser, but let me just remind you of some incident that was happened back in 2013. So there was this Harvard student who was basically, I just remember his name, it may be Kim or something. So he used basically this Tor browser to email bomb. So what email bomb is, he is going to just he was basically threatening the Harvard staff to just avoid taking the exam. So that was very interesting facts that he was just threatening to the Harvard staff not to take the exam, and the IT staffs at the Harvard looked at their logs. So they can obviously look at their internet logs, and that IT staff just identified that Kim was accessing the Tor on the school network during the time of emails. So they just catched him, and just FBI asked that Kim if he did that action, and Kim admitted. So you can see that Tor has worked, but Kim has just broke, because you can clearly see that Tor is not for everyone. If you want to make use of a Tor, make it in a way that it will just be not harmful for other. You can just make your message encryption much more efficient in the Tor, but if you just do any illegal stuff, it will be just tracked by any official in any time. So it is very dangerous to work with the Tor for the illegal stuff. So I highly recommend just you can go through for the educational purpose, or basically you can surf it and you can see how is this onion browser work or onion route work under the hood in this lecture. So in the next lecture will be interesting lecture, because we are going to just launch our own website as an onion route from the Kali Linux. We'll just make our own server, that is Apache server. We'll just make our own website and we'll just host that website in the onion route. So we'll just in this lecture we are going to make our own deep web website. So we'll just make a link where we can just host our website, and basically we'll see that in the Tor browser in this lecture. So first of all, what I want to do is simply fire up my Kali machine over here, and the first thing I want to do is simply, let me just clear this first and open this terminal. So let me just resize this. So here, so first of all we have to see the link, or basically the web page that will be stored in this var, which is under the root, and it will be www.html. so this will be the website's page. So basically we'll see the index.html that is inside here. So this is the page that we are going to render on our deep web link, which is onion router. So first thing what I need to do is simply I'll just remove this index.html. Let's make our own HTML. So just remove this. So I have just removed. Now let me just create the new one, so you know how to create it. So it is with the nano method, and I'll just say index.html. Let's create this. So here we have to make a simple website. Let me say HTML and body. So I'll just make a simple HTML commander website over here. I'll just put maybe the heading, just a heading. I'll just say welcome to hacker world, and let's close this tag, which is heading tag. Let's close our center first. After that let's close our body, and the next one would be HTML. So we have done here, that is creating the new our own index.html. So let me just save this. So in order to save this nano file you have to press Ctrl O, and let's save this. Let me just exit out of here. Now you can see that we have created this index.html again with this nano command. So next thing is we'll see how this is rendered in our localhost. So let me run our service first, which is Apache server. So in order to just run that Apache server in Kali Linux or any Linux distros, it is very easy because this service is pre-installed in the case of the Linux. So the command will be service apache 2 and start. So we have run our server now, and now if I just open my website over here, and if I just put here that is 127.0.0.1, which is obviously the localhost, you'll see the message saying welcome to hacker world. So this is the same website that we just created over here with this index.html. So you can see that this has been executed in the localhost. So let's run this same page in our onion router, or basically in our Tor browser. So first of all I'll just open the new terminal to do that. So let me just say new window for the terminal, and now first thing you need to do is install the Tor service. So I'll just say apt-get install Tor. So remember, this is not Tor browser, this is only the Tor service. So if I just hit enter, I have already Tor installed, which is the newer version. You can install on your machine the similar way that I have done over here, that is installing the Tor with its command. So next thing what you have to do is we have to just change some settings for that Tor. So let me see that Tor RC configuration. So in order to get that Tor RC configuration, you have to first navigate to that directory. So it is inside this etc and inside this Tor. So if I say list over here, you'll see Tor RC, which is this file. So let me just open that with this nano command again, that is Tor RC. So you could see that we have this file over here. So we have to search for something in this file, and that is the hidden services. So in order to search in this nano file, you have to press Ctrl W, and you'll see that search will appear at the bottom over here, and I'll just say hidden. If I hit enter, it will just get us this local hidden services navigation over here. So here what you need to do is just go down here saying hidden services dir and hidden services port. So just see here, and it should be commented out for you. So it should be something like, let me just go over here, and it will be okay commented out like this for you. So what happened here? So it will be commented out like this. So all you need to do is simply uncomment these two lines, that is the directory for the hidden services, and the next one is hidden service port. So you could see now we have run this port. So you can also change this port, you can also change this server IP address. So all you need to do is simply go over here and change if you want to change the port. Let me say if you want to run in 8080, you can do that, but for now I'll just say 80, and simply uncomment only these two lines. So just remember, you have to uncomment only these two lines. Let me save this again by pressing Ctrl O. Let me save this, exit out of here. Now we have run the store RC configuration. So next thing what you need to do is you have to now just run your tor command. So what this tor command will do is basically it will just execute that for us. So we haven't installed the tor RC configuration properly. So let's see what happened over there. So I'll just say nano again and tor RC, and let's see again for the hidden services, it will be hidden. Let's try one more time. Let's see, it is also saying that the address is already used. Let's reboot then. So let's see if we just reboot, and that should help, I think. So I'll just pause for a minute and I'll just get to the interesting part. So let's log in again. So in the previous lecture what we just did was we just made some website that was hosted locally. Now let's see if this store works or not. So I'll just say tor again, and now it is running. Okay, so tor is activated, and you could see that we have done because so let me just go back again, and let me just stop this for a moment. So what we just did was we just gone through this var library. So what we just did was we just entered into this tor file, and we list that, and we just open that tor RC, and here we just search for this hidden services, and in this hidden services you have to uncomment only these two lines. In my case it was already used by another program, so I had to just reboot again, and now we have successfully just run this. So instead of 8080, let me just go back here, and let me just comment this out, uncomment this, and basically instead of 8080 I want 80 port to run. And let me save this first. Let me just exit out again. If I save this and exit out here, now you can also execute your tor command to see if this tor is running or not. So tor is establishing a connection, that means it has successfully executed. And if you just remember, we had this page, and I have shown you before that this page was inside this root folder, and let me just go real quick. It was in this var file www HTML. So this was the index page that we just want to execute. So if I just run this in the Firefox, you will see this page, but now we have to execute this in the tor machine or the tor browser. So let's see how we can do that. So we have already started this tor network, that is this. So let's run another terminal and start our Apache server, because we want to start that Apache server first. So I'll just say start service Apache 2. Start is the command. If I just execute it, so our Apache service is also running. Now let's see where this store service is running, because if you just remember, we have to get that onion link, which is with the extension .onion. So we have to now see what is our host name. So let's see what is our host name that is given by this store network. So in order to see that, you have to first go to this directory that is inside this root variable library and tor. So after you go to that, let me just list out. You'll see other hidden services over there. So I'll just go to that other hidden services. You can also simply press tab for the auto completion, and if I just hit enter, now if I just list it again, then you'll see that we have this host name over here. So if you want to see the content of this host name file, you'll simply type cat, which is to just get the content of that host name. If I just hit enter, you'll see this onion link, which is link for your website. So let me just copy this. If I just copy this, and now we have successfully run our Tor network Apache server. That means our website should be up and running. So if I just go to this directory where I have installed the Tor browser, you can simply install Tor browser for the Linux by downloading from here. If you are in Kali Linux, we have already seen how to download Tor in the Windows in the previous lecture. But if you are in the Linux, you can simply download Tor and simply go to over here and just search for the Linux version and just download this for your machine. So basically it is a simple process, but there will come one problem that will show that the root, or basically this Tor machine, cannot be work with the root. So if you just get that problem saying that exiting, or basically some error message Tor, so let me show you what the error message will be. So if I just go to the program, and now if I just press this start Tor browser over here, if I hit enter, you'll get this page, and now the problem will be for you that is saying Tor bundle browser should not be run as a root, exiting. This will be your message. Instead of just running that Tor browser, this error will come. So basically what you need to do is simply open here. So what we just did was, so this was your browser. So if you just download from that website, from here you have to extract that package and you will get this folder after extracting. So after you go to here and go to this browser, and you will get one link over here, or basically a file saying start Tor browser. So you have to just copy that and simply paste in this terminal. If I hit enter, you will just open that file, and if you are getting this same problem saying the Tor browser bundle should not be run as root, simply go over here, and if you see that in your case it should be something like 0, so you have to change it from 0 to 1. And let me save this and let's go again. Then after that you should be good for running your network. If I just hit enter, you'll just get this establish connection and the Tor browser over here. So you'll just get this one. So now what you can do is simply paste our onion link. So I'll just go over here. Let me see where we have that onion link. Was right here from the hidden services. Let me just grab this, copy this first. Let me just copy again, and let's go to our Tor browser, and let me just paste it down here. Let me just hit enter, and you can see this is the same website that we just executed on our local machine saying welcome to hackers world. So that was the same website that we made with our own HTML code. So you can see this website is running in this onion link. So you can just copy this link and you can also run this in any machine. You can run on your Windows, you can run on your Mac, and it will be live on any machine. That means our onion link is routing basically on this machine. So we can see that our web page is rendered perfectly. So this is the way to create any of these onion link or basically the website in the deep web with the onion routing. So basically this is the way to create any websites on this Kali machine, or basically it is to create any website on this Tor link or onion routing case. So this will be wrap for this lecture. We saw how to create the Tor services network, and we saw how to just make our own website that will be hosted locally, and basically we saw how our web page was rendered perfectly on this onion router. So this lecture will be about the VPN. We'll see how to install the VPN, free VPN in this lecture in the Kali Linux machine. It is very easy task to do in the Kali Linux, but we'll see how this can be just performed with the help of these Kali Linux tools. So first of all, the VPN is virtual private network. So what happens is when you surf the internet, there is a chance that you leak some information to the authorities. So if you just do that, or if you want to just pen test in complete anonymity, then the VPN will be one option, but this is not the best options because there will be obviously some leaks. In the case of the VPN 2, there can be the DNS leak. So what these servers, so any servers, like if you just have the paid version like NordVPN, ExpressVPN, what they tell us is about they have complete anonymity, but that is not the case. So if the any authority asks them to just leak some information about the illegal things that is happened in their server, they are going to give the information to the authority. That means you don't have the complete anonymity while using the VPN. But this is also a good option to remain quite anonymous, because expressing everything to the authority is very much bad than expressing something, or basically to just get some information is not that bad. So what I really mean is VPN is also the one option, but VPN does not guarantee the complete anonymity. So next thing what we can see is we have the paid and free version. So what the free version is, basically you know why the free version, so they are completely slower than the paid version. And the next thing is they just guarantee us that they don't have the IP leak, which is obviously the true, because what we do normally with the VPN is we change our public IP so that the internet access or access of any information will be completely anonymous. But there can be the DNS leak. So DNS leak is a very important part if you want to just complete anonymous. So DNS leak is always there in the case of this VPN book or any of the VPN servers, because the VPN cannot guarantee complete DNS leak. So if there is only certain portion of the DNS leak, then the authorities or the officials or the FBI agents, they will track you in any way, because they can just get the location from that DNS leak, and basically they can trace you and they can just completely knock on your door. So VPN is the one option but not the complete option. But we'll see in this lecture how to install the VPN will be the free version of the VPN. So first of all, what you need to do is simply open your Firefox, and we'll just search for the best option that we have on the market for the free version, and that is your VPN book. So there is a VPN book. So let me just open this website, which is saying vpnbook.com, and we'll just get this website. What we want is this free VPN. So let me just go to the free VPN part, and you will see this tab over here. So you can see the username and a password over here, which will be important while we just install this VPN on your machine. And the next thing is you can see the couple of bundle over here. So bundle is basically based on the Canada or the US. You can see the FFR open certificate bundles. So these are the bundle that will just provide some of these UDP or TCP connections. So you can simply see here that it has provided some of these bundles with the networks layer. So we can see UDP over here, TCP/IP, TCP/443. But just remember that if you are using this VPN to download anything from the torrent, that is not available. So you cannot download anything from the torrent using this VPN. So just remember that. Now let me just download one of these bundle, and let me say I want to download this US1 Open VPN certificate bundle. Let me just save this over here, and now we have downloaded. Let me just go here and open this folder. You'll see I have downloaded, that is this VPN. So what you need to do is simply extract here. So I'll say extract here. So this is basically this is Tor. So I'll just have here, that is VPN book. You can see this is the folder that is extracted. So when I just open it, so you can see there are 4 layers which we have been told over here, which is saying that UDP 25000, TCP 80 and TCP 443. These are the ports and these are the network layers that is available for this VPN. So next thing what you can do is you can simply open one of these VPN that you want to install on your machine. So let's go for one of these. So I want to just go for maybe this 2500. Let me just rename this. That means I want to copy everything. So I'll just copy this name. You can simply copy over here. Let me just open the terminal right here. So in the terminal we have to install it. So now first of all we have to just give the privilege, that is with the sudo, that is super admin privilege. After that we have to use open VPN as a command, and let me just paste what we have just written over here, which is this VPN, and let me just hit enter. It will just ask the auth name. So you can see that the auth name is given right here in the website, which is saying VPN book. Let me just go over here and let me just type this VPN book. So the next is the password. So you cannot just copy this from here. So I have tried before. So yes, this is not valid to copy. You can copy the username, but they haven't given to copy the password. So let's see, we have to now type the password, which is 9VTW8E. and the next is 7. So let me just hit enter. Now it will take a time, and now it will give that the information, that is sequence completed. That means we have completed the sequence. We have now the new route, that is the new IP. So let's see we can have the US IP or not. So in order to check the IP, you know the website. Let me just go with this whatismypublicip.com website. You can also search for any website. So now it is showing that the region is Virginia and the country is United States. Obviously we have changed the VPN to the VPN server of the United States. That means we are now with unique public IP addresses. So this is the way to change your IP addresses so that they won't trace your IP addresses and get your information about the internet access or the network access. So next thing is we want to check is DNS leak. So let's see how we can say that DNS is leaked or not from this website. There is DNS leak test. So they have said hello from Manassas, United States. So they are just getting this IP addresses, which is not our original IP addresses. You can see my original is from Nepal, but they have shown me that it is from United States. That means our IP is obviously changed. But let's see if there is a DNS leak or not. So let me say extended test now. So let it give a time to just test, and let's see if this works or not. So it is querying, it will search for the servers. And also let's do the same DNS leak test, but this time maybe the standardized one. So you can see it has found some of the servers over here. So now let's see if I want to just have the standard test. So it will also have changed, and you can see it has successfully got the location Nepal. That means there is a DNS leak. So the standardized test shows us that there is a leak, and this server also shown us that there is a leak. So VPN is not a perfect way to check or basically to remain the anonymous in the network. So there can be another ways, and we'll see about that in upcoming lecture, but you can clearly see that VPN is not the best way to remain anonymous. If you want to change your IP addresses to some another IP addresses, or if you want to just access something that is blocked in your country, or if you want to just get as a whitelisted on any network that is been blocked for you, then you can change your IP addresses and get into that system. That is perfect option to work with the VPN. But if you want complete anonymity in order to do some big pen testing, then VPN is not the good option for you. So this will be wrap for this lecture. We saw about the VPN, how to configure the VPN, or that is a free VPN using the VPN book. In this lecture we have configured the VPN in our machine. So you could see that when we just search for our public IP, it was perfectly working. It just shows us the information about the country where I am not currently in. But in the case of a DNS, you could see there was a leak, and this is very dangerous. This can be very dangerous. If you do any illegal stuff, then authority can just track you and get down to your service provider, from where they can just get your information, everything about you, or basically your internet access and everything. So this is very dangerous. So anything that the hackers want is anonymity. So hackers would be so hard to be detected, so they want to remain at least anonymous, so that there is no chance that there will be 100% anonymous, but we have to try to remain at most the case where we are not being exposed completely. So we have seen the virtual private network way, but this was not effective because there was a DNS leak. So next one would be your proxy server, and we have the next one is RDP, which is also remote desktop protocol. But now we'll see about the proxy chains, the very relative and very reliable. So it is much secured, much faster than the VPN. So let's see how we can just see the proxy chains setup and work in this lecture. So first of all, what you need to do is open your Kali Linux. So before just jumping into the configuration, I have to tell you that this Kali Linux comes with pre-installed packages of proxy chains. That means we don't need to install the packages separately for the proxy chains. So it is very easier to configure the proxy chains in the Kali Linux and some other Linux distros too. So just keeping that mind. So next thing what you need to do is, basically we have seen in the VPN too that we get the intermediary machine IP. So instead of our own IP, this has given us some other IP, so that the tracing IP addresses or leak of the IP addresses is not possible. But in this lecture we'll see about the proxy chains. So if you have heard about the proxy, so if I just open here in this Mozilla Firefox, and if I just go to maybe the settings, so it is right here, preference, and now if I just go down, then you will see that it has the network proxy. Let me open the settings. Then you will see that it has the configuration for our manual proxy configuration right over here. So you can see we have the SOX version 4, SOX version 5. So SOX version 4 is quite relatively older than this SOX version 5. So this is newer and this is faster than version 4. So we have also the HTTP proxy that is used by the Tor browser. So we have here the bunch of stuff that we need to set up, but this is for the proxy. So we are going to use the proxy chains in this lecture. So you might wonder what is the difference, or what is the basically usage of this proxy and the proxy chains. So first of all, this proxy will be going to work only on this browser. So if you just configure this proxy, and if I just run maybe here, if I want to run, let me just say nmap, if this is the tool to configure the client that is connected to your network. So if I just open this nmap, you will see that, okay, instead of nmap, let me say genmap. If I say open the genmap, and if I just run this nmap, then you will see this is the tool that will just target some of the clients, and basically will just make complete nmap or a genmap or a port scanner in the next upcoming lecture using the Python. But for now you can just see that we can just target some of the client to get its MAC addresses and IP addresses from this application. But if you just use this genmap from this proxy, then it is not going to work, because this can be traced. So someone can just trace this activity in your machine, but they cannot trace only this internet access that you have with this proxy. So just remember that proxy is going to work inside this browser only. Outside that browser it is not going to work. This every pen testing you do on this machine will be transparent if you use this proxy. But in the case of proxy chains, so this is important. In the case of a proxy chains, everything you do on this machine will remain anonymous. So that is very important part of the proxy chain. We could even see that in this browser. If I see in the VPN case, it was this the VPN, or basically the DNS was leaked in the case of VPN, but we'll now see in a minute that how this is rectified using the proxy chains. So let me just configure that proxy chains, and I've already told you before that proxy chains comes as prepackaged in the case of the Kali Linux, so that we don't have to install it manually. So let me just remove this gen map too. So now first of all, what you need to do is simply you will open your terminal as always. So let me just open this terminal, and let me just go to this etc folder. And now we have to configure the proxy chain. So in order to configure proxy chains, I'll use this nano, which is obviously the editor, and now I'll say that it is proxy chains which we want to just change, and we want this configuration to be changed. So let me just make this view much more bigger. So you could see this is our proxy chains configuration file over here. So this is very important file. So you can see a lot of stuff over here. You can see the dynamic chain, strict chain, random chain. If you just go down, you could see the random chain, the proxy format list, the proxy, everything over here. So I'll just go one by one over here. So first of all, you can see that we have this bunch of tunneling proxy here. So we have seen something like this in the case of this Firefox 2. There was a proxy named HTTP SOCKS 4, SOCKS 5. So basically these are the connection proxy server. So you could see these are all the server, and it supports the tunneling procedure. That means you will just get different IP address with each of these tunneling proxifiers or these proxy servers. So just remember that every will have its own benefit, and the faster one over here is SOC 5, which we will be used in this lecture. We will be using this in the lecture. So the next thing what this proxy chain is capable about is it can be mixed up with a different proxy type in this list, that is with the HTTP, with the SOCKS 4, with the SOCKS 5, or basically with the version. And it also supports any kind of chaining option methods like random. You can take here, there is a random or basically a dynamic chain you can see here, or the strict chain. So this is the important part. We'll see about this in a minute, but here you can see that proxy chain can also be used with different server like a sendmail server or a squid server, and it can be also used to handle the client application. I have already told you before that anything you do in this machine will remain anonymous if you use these proxy chains. That means if you just use Genmap, or if you use Burpsuit, or if you use any Multigo or any application in this Kali Linux will remain anonymous. So no one can trace you with these proxy chains. So first of all, let's see about here that what we have just given the information. So first of all, I have told already that these are these proxifiers, or basically the proxy servers that we are going to connect with this Tor configuration. So first of all, we have to make use of these proxy chains to connect with the Tor network using this tunneling proxifier with the DNS. So next thing you can see down here is this dynamic chain. So it is very important. So you can see that the tunneling proxifier is one type of a chaining process. So what is chaining is basically you are just making VPN server. So if you just remember what we just learned in the Tor section was the Tor node. So there was a Tor node which was going to encrypt the message that is sent from one server to the client, or basically the transmission of the message was encrypted using that Tor node. Same is with the case of dynamic chain. It will give the different proxies or different server between the message transmission. That means each connection will be encrypted, or it will be encrypted in a way that there will be the chained proxy. There will be the multiple proxy that this application or this working of this application will go through. It might be slower than the original or this maybe with this random chain, but it is much more secure than any other chain. So if I just go over here, and we are going to use this dynamic chain in this lecture, so you have to only uncomment it right here. So in order to use dynamic chain, just simply unchain that, or basically uncomment that, and the strict chain is going to give you only one proxy. So you can see in the dynamic chain, I have just forgot to mention you one thing over here. It has just given us that information saying at least one proxy must be online to play in a chain. That means it is a faster chain than ever because the dead proxies are skipped. So it will just make a list of these proxies and it will just see if these proxies are active or not, and if these proxies are not active, then it is not going to route through that proxies. That means it will just see which one are active and which one are dead, and based on that it will just route our information through the active chain, and basically it is faster than other. And you can see the strict chain. Now we are not using strict chain, that means we have to comment this out, strict chain, and the strict chain will just get through the chained proxy, and in this case it will have only one proxy, and this is what we are normally going to use in the normal action. And the next one and the most transparent one is here, the random chain. This is not going to make any encryption. This is normal. This will have the transparency. Anyone can see your IP address, can get your location trace, so anyone can do check on your system information, everything with this random chain. That means there is no security whatsoever in the case of the random chain. So you can see that chain length and quiet mode, so they are not the important information. But the next one over here saying that proxy DNS request, no leak for DNS data. This is very important. If you want that there should not be any DNS leak, then this should be uncommented out. So if you just remember from the VPN section, our DNS was completely leaked. We saw how our information, how our router information, routing information, and the DNS server information, ISP information was completely leaked. That means authority can just get back on us and knock on the door if you do any illegal action. That means we have to now uncomment this out, which is proxy DNS. So that is the main important of these proxy chains, that will just give us the power to remain anonymous in any cases. So the next one you can see over here is a proxy list format. So you can see this format over here: SOX version 5, HTTP, SOX version 4, and the HTTP again. So the first one over here is obviously the IP address. The next one is your port where this SOX 5 is running, and the next one information over here is your username and the password. So this is the format for this connection proxy servers. So next one you can see here is a proxy list. So we are going to change something in this proxy list. So what we're gonna do here is we have to now change something in this proxy. So let's go right here and let's add our service in this tunnel. So first of all, what you need to do is you have to add SOC 5, and after that just give one tab so that it will just go under this routing services, or basically your local IP addresses. I'll just give the local host, and the port will be same as before, 9050. Let me just save this. So in order to save, you have to simply press Ctrl O and just press enter, Ctrl X to exit. Now we have successfully saved our proxy chains and the configuration was successfully done. So if you want to see that what we have to do now, then this proxy chain should simultaneously work with our Tor network. That means we have already learned about the Tor in the previous lecture. We saw how to start our Tor in the case where we just made our onion routing, our own website that is hosted locally in our machine. Then we saw how to just activate the Tor status in our machine. So we'll do the same for here, but before that let me see if this Tor service is active or not. So in order to see if this Tor is active or not, we'll make use of this syntax which will just show the status, and it is saying inactive. That means this Tor is dead. So we have to start the Tor network right now. So if it was running for you, then first of all you have to stop that, and stopping the Tor is with the service Tor and stop method. But instead of stop, I have to start because I haven't started the Tor over here. My Tor was dead. So I'll just start the Tor services with this command saying service Tor start. Let me just hit enter. Then it is running. So our Tor is running. Now next thing what you need to do is use the proxy chains. So let's see how we can use the proxy chains. So in order to use the proxy chains, we have the command that is saying proxy chains Firefox. Let me just have an internet access with this proxy chains. So before doing that, let me just close this Firefox running over here. So I want to just surf some website with this proxy chains from the Tor network. So I have to now give some information. Let me say I want to just go to the google.com, and if I hit enter, it is going to work and it is going to give us the information about this. So only the Tor command will not start this Tor command using any service command. So simply write Tor all in lowercase, simply hit enter, and it has done its job. It has now installed, or basically the service Tor has been started. So what I want to do is now open the next terminal, and now we'll do same thing that we just did before. So now I'll just say proxy chains, and I'll just run in this Firefox, and now let's see if this works or not. So I'll just say docgo.com, and if I just hit enter, then let it give a time, and okay, this is working. So now it is working, and if you see in here, then there is a chains. So this is what we call the dynamic chain. So you could see it has linked our services, or basically our browser has been linked to many of these services, many of these chains. So we have a tunneling process over here. We have done the DNS request, some were denied, some were passed, and basically this is the way to configure your dynamic chain on the proxy chains. So let's see how we can just make use of these proxy chains now. So let me just go over here, and let's see our IP address. So I'll just say what is my IP address. You have seen now the IP address has been changed. So it has been changed to United States. So this was done obviously by the VPN book. Also we have done this same change in the IP address with the case of VPN book. Now I want to change, or I want to see the DNS leak. So let's see if this proxy chains work with the DNS leak or not. So now it has given us again with the another IP address that is Netherlands, and basically you can go to that proxy chains, or basically to that terminal, to see we have now so much of chaining process going on over here. Let me go back to the Firefox and let me see the standard test. So this was going to give us the DNS transparency, or basically this was going to give us the information about the actual server before in the case of that VPN. But now you can clearly see in the case of a proxy chains, there is no leak of a DNS. It has shown that the server is from Germany, not the actual server, nothing about the internet service provider information. It has given this bunch of IP addresses, label of communication, and you could see that I have the 5 server that is found in within a minute, maybe within 10 seconds. So let me just resend this again, and you will see again the chains, and basically it is done by the proxy chains. So you could see the importance of this proxy chains. You could clearly see now it has been again changed to Frankfurt, which is basically the place where you can see that this is the new IP addresses that it has been hooked up, or basically it has been changed, and you could see within a minute there is a responses going on over here in the terminal. So this is very important of the proxy chains. It will just give us the powerful tool in order to just make sure that there is no DNS leak and there is no IP transparency going on. So next thing what you can do is, let me just remove this again, and let me just close this out, and instead of this store, let me also close this store, and now let me just run again this service with maybe start command. And now let me do something like opening the nmap with this proxy chain. So I've already said you before that this proxy chain is going to just make you anonymity in any of the application that work with this system. It is not going to give us the anonymity only with the Firefox. It is going to give us with any application that is inside this Kali Linux. So I'll just say I want the nmap to run, and it has to scan the port. So it should be 192.168.1.1, and the subnet will be 24, which would denotes that I want from 1 to 254 subnets of this network. So let me just hit enter, and let's see if this works or not. So let me just go over here and let's see the working of the nmap. So it has again shown us the timeout, but we'll just wait for a moment and let's see if this works or not. So you could clearly see I have gone now the IP addresses. I have also gone basically the MAC addresses, IP addresses of the client that is connected to this network. You can also see some of the ports that is open to that system. So you can do simply something like, okay, nmap, and if you just know the IP addresses of that system, maybe if I want to just get these technologies IP addresses or any information about this technology, you can simply type that technology and see what the ports are opened and what ports are vulnerable. So if I just hit enter, then it will just give some of the ports and the information about the MAC address. So maybe there is no port that is open. So this is the information that we can gather from the nmap, and we use the proxy chains as a service that will just bound with the Tor network to remain anonymous while hacking. So this is important lecture. So we saw how we can make use of the proxy chains. We made the configuration with the help of dynamic chains, and we just made that there is no DNS leak now from our system, and the IP was changed accordingly.